Welcome to the Hub Podcast. I'm your host, Cheney Passer. With me is...
Gordy Breaks.
Wow, simple.
I couldn't think of a nickname. I know I said I was going to do that. That idea is going to run out so fast because I can't think of anything else.
We're in this setup still. I like it. It's hard for me to turn and look at you, but I'm getting more comfortable with it.
Yeah. I think I can look at the camera more anyways.
I think it might be cool to even bring the chairs down here and do it
Where
down
do we
here.
put the couch?
Who cares?
Who cares? You don't need to know. Doesn't matter.
Put it in the kitchen.
I wonder if that's normal. I wonder how many people have like a seating area, like couches kind of seating area in different areas of their house that are untypical, like their bedroom or their kitchen or, like if they just love furniture and
Yeah.
they just have the space that they're like, yeah, let's throw a couch in our room. Or I've seen people put like huge benches right as you walk into their door.
Yeah.
Who's sitting there?
Yeah. Sit there, take your shoes off. Put your shoes on.
Yeah, yes. But it's so nice to have
My
that.
grandma used to kind of have that.
I think
right
there's
at the
a
front
difference
door.
between a little bench or a stool to sit on versus a full on where there's cushions and
Yeah, maybe.
a table next to it.
I don't know. It fills up space and
If you have a big enough house, I guess, yeah.
yeah, and it doesn't always look weird.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's just probably not useful. It's just, the use is to fill up space.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just looks empty over there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put it in the kitchen.
We don't have that much space, though.
Yeah.
We don't have that issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like the open.
Yeah.
It's open. It feels more casual.
Yeah.
Easier to set up, it seems like. We also can get more natural lighting in here.
Yeah, for some reason, to me, it's like the wasted space thing. It's like we have so many rooms that we're not using, so why not use it for a studio? It's like we already are using the living room.
Yeah, but if it doesn't work as good.
Well, see, I think it works fine. I think it's just something different. But I'm fine using both, I guess. Or multiple places.
Yeah, you want to do one on the patio and stuff.
Yeah, it'd be so cool. And in the garage, fix the garage up.
Sounds like an editing nightmare. The wind, outside noises.
Yeah, good point.
Can't control the lighting.
Yeah, good point.
Could be a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe it's worth a try still.
Maybe for a mini episode.
Yeah. On a not windy day.
Yeah, which is non-existent. Also, by the way, Texas, what's happening?
Yeah, it was 30
What's
degrees
happening?
this morning. 30 degrees.
30 degrees.
Below freezing.
It's not even that it's we live in Texas, it should be warm. Who cares? It's I'm beyond that. It's the fact that 3 days ago, it was 80 degrees out. And in 2 days from now, it's going to be 80 degrees again. It's
It's crazy.
what? The up and down is insane.
Well,
and it's not even there was a little cold burst. It's we've had, I don't know whether there's a cold burst or a hot, a heat wave anymore. It just is so like this.
Yeah. It's almost crazier than Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, at least okay, it's cold now, it's going to stay cold.
Yeah.
Or it's warm and it's going to pretty much stay warm.
Yeah.
This is every 2 days, you could be wearing, 5 layers and a winter hat. And the next time I'm wearing a swimsuit top working out. The very next day.
And the other night, for how windy it was, the wind was keeping us awake.
Yeah.
It was extremely windy.
Yeah.
It gets all types of weather and climate here.
That you never hear about. You hear about the humidity and you hear about it being hot, but you don't hear about the fluctuation. You don't hear about how freaking windy it is.
Super windy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. I just with you, Texas, I guess.
Yeah.
So today we are talking about the benefits of weightlifting specifically.
Yeah.
Not just health and fitness, but resistance training, which is the I guess the style of working out that we choose and have always chosen, and what we typically recommend to, I would say, 90% of people, most people actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I think that's a good place to start. Like, I think it pretty much covers everyone. And I feel like 90% is even being conservative. I don't know. I don't even know. I can't
There's
think
no
of
one that wouldn't benefit from it, I guess, yeah.
yeah, well, and I can't think of a situation or a person that wouldn't benefit from it besides like timing in life maybe. But like each person I think could certainly benefit from it. And the more and more research that they do about it, the more good things that is coming out about it, and how it's kind of, I think the narrative now is that it's the number one way of exercising, as far as benefits.
Yeah.
I think that's I think we've kind of made that switch now where we know that.
Yeah, I think I said that wrong. When I was thinking about it, I was thinking of like, if a client was given to me or put in front of me and I would see their situation, like if they just came off of an injury or whatever, like maybe I'd say you probably need more mobility and therapy before that. But that was just I was in my head too much. Yeah, everybody should be resistance training.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, there's always an exception. There's always, it's never 100%, but almost everybody it's going to benefit, and it's probably a 99.9% type thing.
Yeah.
That it
I
would
think,
reach.
and no matter how you program it, there are hundreds of ways to program it and how you go about it, what different regimens you have. But as long as it is resistance training, all or most of these things that we're talking about will
fit under that umbrella.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the number one thing that is kind of the reason or result of maybe everything else too, is gaining strength. Gaining strength and building a strong structure. That's pretty much what it is. Because I think a lot of people think of it as you're strengthening your muscles, and that is true, but you're also strengthening everything else. Your bones, you're strengthening your tendons and ligaments and everything. Everything is being put under load, and it is gaining a resistance to what you're doing and building up stronger and stronger. And that kind of funnels into maybe most other categories of kind of what benefits you with it. It kind of seems like the main one is strength. You become stronger, and that helps so many other things.
And I think that word is something that I hear a lot of women say, like, well, I don't really care about being strong. But I don't think you guys are realizing, like, strength affects your everyday. It's not just about, like, I think you're connecting strong with looking bulky or looking really big or muscular. That, yeah, being strong, like you said, like that means your joints are going to move better. That means your ligaments and like your whole body is going to be working more efficiently and effectively. And stronger could also mean just like, okay, yeah, you don't want to look super bulky, but I bring this example up all the time of, do you want to have to ask for help to open things? Do you want to have to ask for help when you're in the airplane and you have to put your bag up over in the compartment? Do you want to have to like kind of not be able to do the things that you need to do because of a weakness or because you don't have the strength to do it? Or like I see moms all the time, like, like they struggle to hold their baby or struggle to hold, like bounce them because their arms are too weak. Like it affects more beyond your looks. And I think strength is just one of those trigger words for women of like, I don't care about being strong. I just want to look good. I want to look skinny. I want to look toned. Dumbest word in the book, toned. But it affects and benefits you, I think, in smaller ways as well.
I think it's a lot of the little examples that you maybe don't notice or think of or pay attention to a lot of the time. It's a lot of the little things, you know, being able to put your suitcase in the overhead compartment, and even just like your strength as far as throughout the day, you know, you're more easily wore out because you don't have the strength, or you know. And it's not always about like, I think there's um a thing with that too, of when people think of strength, they think of lifting something heavy and just continuing to up that number, to where they forget about strength as in muscle endurance, like being able to go a long time with lifting things or moving your body or doing things that, you know, you go on vacation or you go to the cabin or whatever, and you're outside more, and you're playing around more, and you're swimming, and you're doing all these more active things, you're kayaking, and you realize how wore out you're getting. That's more of muscle endurance, that repetitive, just constantly moving, constantly going, versus like picking up heavy boulders or something. And people kind of forget about that too, of there's more than one strength. But I think I agree with you, of like, it's a lot of little things that you don't really realize or notice, until maybe you start working out and you start gaining a little bit more strength, and you go, wow, this used to be so hard for me to pick up, or this used to be difficult for me to do, or I would be really sore after doing this type of thing before, and now I'm really not. And it's a thing that there's so many little things in it, and it really betters your life when you get just that much stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And it's something that I think, you know, again, going to the whole body approach is, I think it's a physical strength, but I also think it's a mental strength of, you're learning how to, I mean, it's literally like the resistance. You're learning how to oppose resistance. You're learning how to work with resistance. You're learning how to build your body up to be able to handle more things, is simply what you're doing. So don't you want to have the biggest base for that, or the strongest foundation for that, you know, you become more mentally strong, you become a little bit more confident because you can do those things. You can basically just handle yourself more. And, you know, I don't know, I think for a female, and I talked about this in, you know, a few episodes ago, of when I start gaining more strength again, it starts to make me feel more safe within myself as well, of being able to handle more situations, or if a dangerous situation comes up, I don't feel as helpless. And that's all just because I know, like, no, I can hold my own here. Or like, maybe not hold my own, but like, I think this getting stronger, and the strength aspect of it, I think is beyond just like the numbers or the what you can lift too, which is cool.
Yeah, and I think, and that's a benefit. You know, that's a benefit, to feel safer. When you are stronger, you feel safer. I mean, sounds maybe simple or silly, but it's definitely the case. And you feel more capable when you go to the airport, or you are going and doing anything. You just, you do. It's something that it's somewhat undescribable, but you can in certain instances or words, but you feel different. You feel more confident. You feel more capable. You feel more like you can take on more, you know, whether it's with work or literally physically. Like you just start to feel stronger as a whole being, not just physically.
Yeah. So that's one of them, is just this obvious strength that you get. Throw out another one.
That's it. That's the only benefit. So never mind. Give it up.
No, another one that I think surprises a lot of people, or a lot of people that I was working with, because I was working with more of the, I would say the, how do I say this? The more middle-aged women who were struggling with losing the weight that they wanted, or looking a certain way, or looking how they used to look even. And then I would see them in these classes, and then classes that I would teach, and they would want to just be doing cardio the whole time, or they wouldn't feel like, like they would grab the 5-pound weights every class month after month. But then would come to me at the end of class and go, oh, I want to lose my stomach fat. I want to lose the weight in between my, like I want to strengthen the part in between, not strengthen. I want to lose this in between my legs, or, I want to tone up. I want to have toned muscle. And then the only thing they would do would be just more cardio, more cardio, more cardio. And they were also eating basically nothing. That's another cool thing about resistance training, is it boosts your metabolism, which allows you to be able to eat more calories because your calories are being used for larger parts of your day. And an analogy that I really liked that connected with me was, muscle is expensive, so you're going to lose it slower than you will fat, but it's also harder to gain, so you need to be eating the amount that you, like, more than you would maybe think. You have to be pushing the weight more than you would maybe think, but it's more bang for your buck. It's more expensive. It's a nicer quality. Like if you're going with food, that's a steak versus McDonald's. You're paying more for it, but it's better quality. It's better for you. You're getting more out of that meal. So same thing with cardio. You're putting in the work, but it's only working for you just when you're doing it. To where lifting, it's sending that signal to build muscle, which is then burning calories and tightening your body and using your food throughout the whole day, not just while you're doing it.
Yeah, there's more after effects. Even after you're done working out, your body is still like trying to adapt, and it's still working to fuel, with your food is trying to fuel the muscle and fuel your body for what it needs. But your body's adapting because you're putting a resistance on it. It needs to become stronger. So it's in that process, you're burning more calories because your body is working more, rather than with cardio where, you go for a long run and you get done, your body's kind of done then. There's nothing that's really continuing that calorie burning process.
And I think if most people tracked how much they were eating and then like saw the number on the treadmill, which might not even be accurate, but like saw the number, like they see the number, like, oh my gosh, I burned 800 calories. It's like, that's not that much food when you put it into like the numbers, that you're going to get that back probably in another meal or a meal and a half. That it doesn't take that much of your caloric intake to run on the treadmill or to go for a run. It does take a little bit more calories to push weight and to add resistance, or to go against resistance. That going on the treadmill, don't need as many calories, and you're not burning as many calories, and it's just for that amount of time. Lifting weights, you need more calories to build the muscle and to create what you're trying to do, and it also burns more while you're doing it, and it burns more long lasting throughout the day.
I don't know if it burns more while you're exercising.
Yes. As I said that, I was like, I don't know if that's true.
I think the cardio does burn more, but the important part is it's done when you're done doing it.
Yes.
Where with weightlifting, I see it as like an investment. You're putting a little bit of money in to have that grow and grow and grow versus, I don't know what the other side of it would be besides just like.
So at the treadmill, you're just doing it for right now. I'm trying to just get through this thing.
Yeah, it's a right now thing, to where the resistance training it's an investment. You're going to get more from it long term.
Yes.
To where the cardio, you maybe get some right now, but that fades away. That goes away.
I mean, yeah, the word investment is actually really a smart way to look at it. Like, what's an example of that? Just like a regular.
Well, it's just like, it's it's so funny to compare it to like financial terms and stuff, but it's like compounding interest. You put a little bit in and that gains a little bit. So now you have more, and then that gains, even more as you continue to do it. And it's just you keep putting in more and you're getting more in return. And then that's just added on top that continues to where, I feel like with cardio, it's like you maybe put some in, but then you basically just get what you got put in right back out of it. You don't get more on top of it. It's like you go into the gym and you burn 800 calories and then you're done. That's what you got is 800 calories to where, or you go into the gym, you go run and burn that to where with weightlifting, you go in and you maybe burn only 400 calories with resistance training. But when you walk out, that number is still going and it's going throughout the entire day. And then you end up surpassing 800 calories.
Right. And the calories that you do intake afterwards, cardio are basically just replacing it. So you lost 800, you're gaining 800 again. To where the lifting or the resistance training aspect of it, like you're able to almost buy more by bringing in more calories. Well, I guess it depends on your goal. Because if you're trying to maybe cut, you still need your output to be more than your input. But it just seems like the food is being utilized for better things. Like, to me, I see resistance training as the physical, like if we're just talking about looks, I guess, like with doing resistance training and lifting weights, that allows my body to become more tight and dense and losing more body fat. And I didn't need to adjust my calories. And most of the time, I even get to bump them up to where, yeah.
I was going to say, that's what I love about the wanting to get toned. A lot of people want to get toned, but they think to go about that is by just burning more fat. I need to burn more fat. And cardio does that. Cardio does that probably better than any other type of exercising. But to get toned, your muscles need to kind of show through more. You want to get toned, you need to...
Toned means they need to be harder and more firm. And
they may even need to grow a little bit to where you can't just lose all your body fat. You'll look like a skeleton. And that's not toned, that's just now a skeleton. Mm-hmm. You need to build up the muscle a little bit to where... and it's not even like you're getting bulky. That's something that I think is funny that you bring up frequently of like you used to having that fear of getting bulky and heavy and whatever. And then when you actually go to try to do it, you realize how difficult that is to do. Yeah. So it's just, I feel like in the fitness world, it's kind of a funny thing to hear when people say, well, I don't want to get, bulky. It's like,
you're not going to just fall into that.
No, you have no idea how difficult it is to get bulky. It takes a lot of effort and time. I mean, there's so many people that's all they want and they can't do it. But with the toned example or toned idea, to get toned, resistance training is one of the best things to do because that's going to, like you said, it's going to make your muscle tight, or it's going to make your body tighter because your muscles are going to start to get stronger and they're going to increase in size a little bit. That makes your skin tighter. And with that, you are losing body fat by using resistance training. And that's where cardio does come into play is it can be a little bit more body fat that's being burned off, but you kind of need both. And that's the thing that's great about resistance training is you are building muscle and burning fat. Cardio, you're not doing both. You're only burning fat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's one thing too that on myself, but also on other people, you can see just walking around who is skinny or who is more thin because they go on the treadmill all the time and who is thin because they are lifting weights. There is a different look to it. The more of the cardio body style, it is a little bit more loose. It's a little bit more of that like skinny fat look. Or
well, and I think even if you would rather have the um, more runner's look, um, I think something to think about with that is that doesn't mean you're healthy necessarily, or that doesn't mean that your body is functioning at the highest level or capacity, or that your day-to-day life is even the best it could be. I think the person that goes and runs every day, it's awesome, and it's activity, and that's always better than not. But you're missing out on, I mean, you're missing out on so many benefits of the resistance training, of being stronger, because not only is running great for you, but doing some resistance training is going to help your running. It's going to help your cardio. That's more of a performance thing rather than an aesthetic thing. But I think aesthetically speaking, the resistance training is going to get you to where you want to go probably faster and reach that aesthetic goal better than just doing cardio would, because cardio is just burning fat, and you're just going to continue to burn fat and not build any muscle, which is going to slow down your progress too.
And you're probably not burning that much fat, because most people are probably not intaking less calories than what they're burning. And I think that's what people get in this cycle of like, but I'm doing all this cardio. Well, yeah, but you have to do way, way, way more cardio to burn off what your diet probably is. And like you said, your aestheticals. I think you can say that as general as you did, because I think most people's goals, whether they think it is or not, would be solved by resistance training. Even if like, I just want to lose weight.
You can do that by just resisting.
By cardio, but
you'll do it better by resistance training.
Better, and I think more effectively, and you're not going to do this up and down, up and down. I feel like the people that do it with cardio, they lose it, put it back on, lose it, put it back on. And they're also having to decrease their calories constantly, because then now you need to, like, with resistance training, there's an availability to up your calories. To where with cardio, you just keep having to, even just to maintain, your body is going to adapt to that caloric intake and the cardio, that unless you're just going to do more cardio, which I'm guessing most people don't want to do, you're going to have to keep taking the food away. That I would much rather tell a client, you can up your calories, we just need to add some resistance training to it, because now you're going to be using those calories appropriately.
Yeah, I think that's what's also, and I don't want this to be a trash in cardio. I want this to be the benefits of resistance training. You shouldn't have to trash cardio just to show any benefits of resistance training.
That's true. Okay, I'll stop doing that.
No, we're both doing it. But with cardio, you, just like what you said, your body's an adaptive machine. It's just constantly adapting to what you're doing. Now with cardio, if you're still in the process of wanting to lose weight, or burn body fat, whichever it is, two in the same kind of two, you only have one of two options. It's either do more cardio or it's eat less. And that's where I think a ton of people get caught, is they start eating less, and now you're down to 800 calories. You're only eating 800 calories maybe, and you're doing crazy amounts of cardio. You're going for hour runs or 40-minute bike rides or whatever it is, and you still can't lose weight. Well, that's because your body has adapted to what you're doing, and it's now not adapting anymore. That's why your body changes, is because it's adapting. That's how you're building strength when you're resistance training, is your body's adapting to the load that you're putting onto it. And then once it has adapted enough, it now is not going to change anymore. That's why when you lift weights, typically the muscles get bigger, and then you have to lift more weights to make sure it gets even bigger, or just stronger. To where with cardio and burning fat, it's the same thing. But that's where people get caught, is you just end up, now I run a marathon a day just to try to burn a couple calories, and I only eat 800 calories. That's not a good place to live and a good place to be. To where with resistance training, there's a lot more avenues where you can switch up your exercise programs and you can do other things to start eliciting change and continue to elicit change, and your body doesn't adapt as quickly and stop changing.
And that's what I was going to say too with the resistance training is there are more avenues for you to mix it up slash customize what you're wanting out of it. You can't, okay, I guess comparing, again, not trying to go to the cardio thing. When you're on the treadmill, you can't go, okay, body, I want you to burn fat just in my stomach. Now, you can't do that with resistance training either. You can't spot reduce, but you can spot build, which, and then in return, will make that area tighter. And what tighter is mostly is making that area smaller and slimmer, but also just more dense. So to me, there's more room for customization there for especially the people that I was talking to the most of, the females that they know there are 3 areas that they want to get rid of or they want to take care of. It's not, I just overall want to be skinnier. It's, I need the muscle, the jiggle under my arm to go away. I need the stomach fat to go away. I need the fat between my legs or my thighs to go away. There's more ways to create those outcomes with resistance training, which is what I love about it, is because you can kind of go, I want to have a little bit more there. I want to have a little less there. I want to look kind of like this shape. Granted, you still have your skeletal structure that is going to choose. You have your hormones that do affect that and where you hold body fat and where you produce muscle a little bit easier. But I think that is a benefit to me, is what I see is there is a little bit more customizing that you can do.
Well, and it's an odd concept to think of or to believe or try to get somebody to kind of, to believe or accept, is that, the jiggle under the arm, everybody wants it to go away. And typically by doing that is you need to build it out, which is tough for people to accept or kind of be okay with. That jiggle under that arm is, it's a lot of the times it's body fat or it's loose skin or something like that. And you can't just take away skin. I mean, you can, but that's money and surgery and
Can't naturally take it.
Right. And you can't just lose a bunch of weight to get rid of that. I'm pretty low body fat percentage and I still have a jiggle under the arm. Everybody's going to have that. Now, can you make it maybe a little bit tighter than it is now? Yes. And by doing that, you have to build muscle in that area. And that's it's hard to get across. Same with like the inner thigh or the love handles. Sometimes it is, you could reduce body fat there. But on top of that, to make that even tighter or to just simply to make that tighter, you need to build muscle in that area because that's what's going to fill out. And everybody knows muscle is hard and it's dense. That's what gives you that tightness. So that's what you need to build out. But that's a hard thing to get people to wrap their head around of, you need to somewhat build it out versus lose. Everybody's in this, I need to get rid of this stuff rather than, no, you actually need to build it out. And that's what will make it tighten up and look how you want it to look. Because that goes to the toned thing as well. That's how you're going to look toned, is by building out the muscle while also reducing body fat. Yeah.
I mean, even for me, like growing up dancing, I was doing cardio per se all the time.
It is cardio.
I was very, very active, that I was consistently staying around, and again, going back to the numbers of like 112 to 115 pounds. After high school, I start lifting and I start putting, adding a resistance training program, and I wasn't dancing as much. I was teaching, but I wasn't dancing as intensely as I was. So my cardio dropped probably 90%. And I went from 112 to 115 to 120, 125, and I had never looked tighter or skinnier or more, okay, sorry, not I look tighter. The skinny part, I guess, is the where I was like, because I looked skinny, but to me, skinny was, no, I guess I looked skinnier. I looked overall more compact and more in shape than I ever have in my life, being 10 pounds heavier, eating more, and not having to do cardio really at all.
Yeah, and that's the muscle building.
Yeah.
You know, that's not that you.
I
Well,
didn't.
I mean, literally,
I'm not
you
like
didn't.
a unique situation.
No, and it's not. It's not that you lost weight to look tighter. You gained weight to look tighter and more in shape. And I
Yep.
think that's a hard concept to grasp, but that is what happens, and that's what resistance training is. Aesthetically is that's why it's superior, is because you're building out the muscle, and not only is that healthier, going back to what we said in the beginning with the strength thing, is it's like you're just more capable, but aesthetically you look better because you're tighter. You're not just kind of the word, and it's maybe sounds mean or whatever, but looser. You don't look as loose.
Yeah.
And
It's like that skinny fat thing.
I think most people will know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, aesthetically it's going to get you to where you want to go, probably faster, more sustainable, and also it's going to get you there how you want to look.
I think the true version in your head of how you want to look. Because I think the faster part, I think cardio will get you to lose weight faster. But I think most people, in the way that they see the, like, I want to look like this, or the version of me that looks like this, I think you think you're going to get there by cardio. But I think the version in your head that you actually want to look like probably involves the resistance training outcome versus the cardio outcome of what you look like.
And I would challenge the faster. It depends on how quickly we're talking, I guess.
I think cardio, you probably could do it. I mean, just like losing weight is what I'm saying.
But that's what I mean is like, what's the time frame? Because to me, it's like your body's going to adapt very quickly to that, and then you're going to stop losing weight. You know, that's what's so great about all these 30-day challenges is you lose a ton of weight in 30 days, but then after that 30 days, it's done.
That's a good point. So the outcome that you want, you're right. It is going to take you probably less time with resistance training because there's going to be less up, down.
That's not really what I'm saying, though. I'm saying you'll get to where you want to be faster with resistance training, because the cardio thing, you may get results very quickly, like 30 days, but then you don't get any more after that. To where with resistance training, you may not get the same results as quick after 30 days, but let's check back in 60 days. Or let's check back in 45 days, 60 days, 120 days. Mm-hmm. You're going to be way, way, way closer or way farther along with resistance training after 60 days than you are with cardio after 60 days.
Yes. Okay, so I wasn't understanding the full length of what you're saying. Why do I keep doing that? What I was saying is, like, for those people, they're like, well, I do lose weight really fast when I do cardio. So it's like, yes, say you're talking 10 pounds, you're going to lose 10 pounds much faster running on the treadmill than you would lose 10 pounds, maybe, than resistance training. But what you're saying is
probably
that 10 pounds is going to come back real quick doing cardio. That 10 pounds, when you do lose at resistance training, is probably going to stay off, or it's probably going to be easier to keep off.
It's more permanent. You'll lose that 10 pounds in quicker using cardio or doing cardio than you would the resistance training. But when you lose that 10 pounds resistance training, that's a lot more permanent. That's going to stay off for a lot longer, as long as you continue.
And working into, that's another benefit of resistance training, is it's almost built into your body's DNA a little bit, or database a little bit deeper, to where you could be super consistent for a year running on the treadmill, like doing your cardio, and you lose a bunch of weight and blah, blah, blah. But then you get pregnant. And then you have that kid. That's so dramatic. You have the precious life that you created. And then afterwards, you want to bounce back to the body that you were before. Your body doesn't have that muscle memory of the cardio because you haven't done it in a while, or it was harder to keep up, or whatever. Your body doesn't, it's almost like no one would ever know that you did that for a year. To where with resistance training, your body is creating that database, that muscle memory, that when you go back to it, your muscles are going to go, oh, I know what this is. Oh, I know how to do this. I know what signal to send. And that muscle is going to rebuild so much faster.
Well, and you've literally created more muscle fibers by doing resistance training. You've literally created more muscle fibers that, kind of like what you're saying, when you go back to it, if you have a long layoff for whatever reason, and you go back to it, you have more muscle fibers to be sending more signal or a stronger signal, and you recoup what you had already created. It's like what we just said, the resistance training is just, it's more permanent. Like you said, it gets just kind of built into your body's database, and it stays there for a long time, to where with cardio, it's really burn body fat. And then if you gain that body fat back, you just got to kind of redo it all again. You didn't gain anything other than you lost body fat. Mm-hmm. That's all you really got from it. Where with resistance training, you're literally creating more muscle fibers, and you're creating you can adjust your metabolism. Your metabolism will go away if you get off of resistance training.
Yes.
But again, your metabolism is going to start firing again very quickly when you get back onto resistance training. And like you said, you have that stimulus kind of built into you, that all of that starts to work again like a machine that knows what it's doing, to where with cardio, it's like a new thing every time. When you go and do it again, it's brand new. Like the thing that falls off for almost everybody is cardio, or is your endurance, is your cardiovascular endurance. That falls off very quickly, to where your strength doesn't fall off very quickly.
No, and nor do the results of your strength training.
Right.
Like, I don't know, I feel like cardio, again, I go back to the proof. The proof that you were doing that goes away so fast that, like, say during quarantine, we didn't have any weights with us. And yet we held on to our muscle so well. And then when we were able to bring that stimulus back in, it was boom, right back in.
Yeah, we got
and you
back
start
to
building immediately. But like someone doing cardio and then going on that break, you'll probably just go back into whatever you were looking like before. You're going to gain that body weight back, to where us not lifting weights for almost a year, besides doing band work, we still kept a lot of our muscle. And even over time, you start building that base, that taking breaks, or if you're less consistent, that thing that you keep falling back to also gets better and better.
Yeah, you take somebody like my brother that he got into like weightlifting, resistance training, and I think was more doing it for the aesthetic purposes. I don't remember what weight he started at, but you could probably ballpark around 160, 170. It'd be something to ask him. But he was about 160, 170 pounds, and he started resistance training and got really into it and got more and more into it. And kind of, I feel like with most guys, they typically just want to get bigger and bigger and get as big as they can, type of thing.
Well, and see how strong they can get,
see how strong they can get, and how much muscle they can get on their body. And he's gotten to a point now where he's up over 200 pounds from 160, 170-ish. He's got up over 200 pounds, and he'll take a lengthy amount of time off, and he still stays above 200 pounds. He still stays a large, strong man. He doesn't go back down to 160, 170 pounds and, like he never put on muscle kind of thing. All of us boys are, maybe not Casey, but I don't know, even Casey.
You're all very slender.
We're slender.
Boys.
We're slender boys. We're little slender boys. No, we're slender people, and so for us, it's typically a lot harder to put on muscle rather than to lose weight. Um, but yeah, you take my brother, and he's gained this strength and this muscle and this size to where now if he takes time off, I mean, he could take a year off. He could take a year and a half off,
Which
and
is not what we would recommend, but
but he will stay and have that muscle and have those muscle fibers unless he were to try to really get rid of it. But that's not the case. You get to this point. It's almost like, it's like it's kind of like in a video game where you get to the next level and you save your data. And then you're still at that level every time you go back to that game. And then you do it again and you save that level. To where with cardio, it's like you don't have that option. You don't get to save that level. You have to continue to level up or stay at that level continuously. Otherwise, you'll drop back down.
Again, it's going back to that. It's an investment.
Yeah.
An investment stays with you and it pays off for larger amounts and
For longer.
To where Again, I don't want to make it a cardio versus the resistance thing. I think it just proves again, maybe how much this is such a benefit and can be such a benefit that I feel like why I like bringing up the versus cardio is because for most of the people that I'm talking to, they're going, well, but can I just run on the treadmill? Can I just take my Zumba classes? Can I just take my da-da-da-da? It's like, no. Because this is what you get that you don't get over here.
Mm-hmm.
And they think it's two in the same. But yeah, your body keeps the score a little bit more in that way of it's not just a one-time purchase like cardio is. It's a purchase that kind of continues to make you money.
Yeah, and it keeps giving back.
Yeah. It's like a rent versus buying a home.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're putting money towards something that eventually will hopefully give you money back. That rent is just, I'm just paying you to stay here.
Yeah, and you have to continue to, well, I guess paying your mortgage you have to continue to do, but yeah. I think, it's difficult not to make the comparison. I think we make the comparison because it's a debate a lot of the times. And it's something to bring up and, I don't know, kind of show both sides of each. I think we just need to do another one of these of the benefits of cardio because there's a ton of benefits of cardio too.
Yes. There is. There is. I think, no, there definitely is benefits to cardio. I think, again, just when people are like, this is what I want. This is what I want to see happen. This is what I, blah, blah, blah. Most of the time, it's resistance training is what's going to get them there. And they go, no, I'm good. I'll go to my spin class.
Well, but it's not always their fault. It can be their fault if they're not open to it, but it's not always their fault, especially the way that this has all been marketed to us over the years.
For sure.
I think another benefit of resistance training is just the variety that you can get from it in a lot of different avenues. Not only can your workouts have more variety because there's so many different types of, not only just types of resistance training of whether you're using bands or barbells or dumbbells or medicine balls or kettlebells, but also different types of goals that you're wanting to reach. Like I said about my brother, and I feel like most guys or a lot of guys, they're wanting to put on muscle and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can lift weights or you can do resistance training to do that. But also the person that is maybe wanting to lose weight and get smaller, you can use resistance training to do that too.
Yeah, there's just more ways to have fun with it, I think. Again, going back to the customizing. There's more ways to customize it and there's more ways to mix it up. That if you're trying to create a lifestyle with fitness, I think there's so many new goals and there's ways to take it. Yeah. That's what is still exciting to me about fitness is I can change my body different, but still using resistance training. I can mix up what I want to look like or what goals I want to focus on, and do I want to build this out? Do I want to tighten this up? Do I want to be super looking like lightweight looking, and or do I want to bulk and get super strong and big? That it's all kind of the same tools, but you can manipulate the tools to get completely different outcomes.
Yeah, it's just there's so much variety. There's so many different exercises that it's just I think it is more interesting a lot of the time. It's just, there's something that is very nice and consistent about like going for a run or going for a bike ride. But there's a lot of times where that just becomes boring, to where with resistance training, there's so many different things that you can do, different workouts you can do, different exercises, different, things that you're doing the exercises with. Like I said, the medicine balls or kettlebells or dumbbells or, there's just so much variety that I think it really keeps your interest. And I think that's what keeps the longevity of people going and doing it too. There's probably no studies on it, or there's no fact to this, but I think the people that do resistance training probably last longer in their fitness journey than the people that just do cardio do, because it's more interesting. It's more fun. To where cardio, it's the same activity over and over and over again, that it becomes boring.
Sure. One, that's what's also, I don't know, I'm sure is a big point for a lot of people, is I also love food. I don't want to have to take it away to keep my goals or to keep looking a certain way or feeling a certain way. I want to be able to have a little bit more freedom to eat carbs and, have not just like one salad a day to maintain and look a certain way. I want to be able to enjoy things more, but not have it get in the way.
Yeah. I think we touched on it earlier, but I think it advances your life a lot more when you're stronger.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yep.
you're doing resistance training, one of the probably the most common thread of that is you're becoming stronger, unless you have kind of stopped adding weight to it or changing up the exercises or doing something that's difficult for you. You're continually getting stronger and building this structure that can handle more. And it's even more important as you get older, and get to ages where you don't move the same anymore. It's even more important to be that much stronger, getting up off the floor to just by yourself and not having to grab onto anything or need somebody to help you up, or getting up off the chair, or
your knees hurt too bad when you can't stand up.
Yep. And that's another thing too, is like injury prevention and also just like pain, helping pain. A lot of the times we have a lot of pain in certain ligaments or in certain joints and stuff because those areas are weak. And that's what resistance training can do, is strengthen those areas and take some or all of that pain away.
Well, I like what you said about like the age thing too, is, besides just the basics of, the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons and all those great things too, but even more internally of your hormone profile, is it is proven by many studies that it does regulate your hormones better and keeps them more in check, and it boosts your testosterone, which is helpful for both female and male. And especially as you get older, where those start to fluctuate more or decrease naturally.
Yeah.
This is a natural way to keep those regulated and keep those in check, which then, that affects your mood, that affects your sleep, that affects your hair loss or quality of your hair, that affects your skin,
your immune system,
that, again, just like it doesn't take that much to get these awesome benefits from it either.
Right. Right.
you know?
Yeah, it's not like you got to go 7 days a week just to get a little bit of that. It can be a very simple 2 day a week weightlifting routine, and you're getting a lot of these benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. It just seems more bang for your buck.
And it's also something too for
Not seems, it is.
it helps every age bracket. When you get to you're at a young, say a young age, the cardio, they can do the cardio, but again, like, try to keep a 10-year-old interested in running 6 miles or something, if they can run 6 miles. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of boring, but you could take a 10-year-old and create a fun resistance training routine that keeps their intrigue and keeps them wanting to come back or wanting to continue to do it. And it's also benefiting them in so many ways. And then same, obviously, I think for a majority of people, we talk about kind of our age group and maybe up to, maybe 50s, 60s-ish. But then once you get 60 and above, I think this is where a lot of this information about resistance training that we know now gets lost, is in that upper age bracket where they would benefit probably the most from resistance training. But take a 60-plus-year-old and have them, run 2 miles or do a whole bunch of cardio all the time. They probably can't do that. They start to become old enough that they can't do that. It's just too difficult. But
They can, I literally taught a silver sneakers class where it is,
Yeah.
you have 65 and up. And
Yeah.
I had some 80-year-olds in that class that you can sit in a chair and have your stabilizers not having to be crazy. And you can still do light resistance training and
Yep.
shoulder presses where you're working on your range of motion, so that when you go and you pick something up out of your cupboard, you're able to do that. And you're able to walk up and down stairs because you're learning how to stand up from a chair with holding weight. So you don't have to focus on grabbing anything, or not just, I can't carry anything ever. I just have to have my body weight.
Yeah.
Managing movement with load is something that becomes harder as you get older.
And resistance training helps that.
Yeah.
Helps it a lot.
Yeah. So it is. It's kind of like, again, going back to the beginning of this, is everybody can benefit from this.
Yeah.
No matter what your goal is, resistance training is probably the answer. Just as how you program it.
Right. And that's I think the complicated part, and what steers a lot of people away too, is it's complicated. It's somewhat simple to get on a elliptical machine or a stationary bike or a treadmill, or it's simple to understand and do. But again, with that, there's not a whole bunch of benefits that come from it. I said it on one of the other podcasts, like, what things have you gotten in your life that have come super easy to you? Not a lot. Usually it takes some time, some effort, some energy, some educating to get to the places that you want to be. And this is another one of those things that you may have to become more educated about it so you know what you're doing, but the benefits are somewhat they're like tenfold compared to other types of exercising.
Yeah. So kudos to you to even listening to this podcast, because that is you taking a step in that direction and continuing to listen to our podcasts or other podcasts, or, maybe looking into it in more of that way of, there are ways to learn about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a personal trainer to know how to create a workout program and to learn what your steps are to get to your goal. So as much as there is a lot to learn about it, and there's always more to learn and uncover, and, maybe switch up what your mindset was about it, the baseline, I think, is still probably going to be beneficial. Even if you're doing it maybe not in the direction you're supposed to be for your goal, something is better than nothing.
Do you feel like there's anything else with this one?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's good. And we'll obviously cut and edit this and stuff like that, so we'll see kind of what we said. And I mean, there's probably so much more we could talk about with it that's just not coming to us right now, that we could probably for sure do another episode on this.
Yeah. Or if you have any questions about resistance training specifically that you want us, going back to the education, if you want us to touch on, please reach out to us on all of our different platforms, Instagram, Facebook page, email, or comment on this.
Yeah.
Because we can dive into more of your specific goals too, and how to navigate, how to help you there.
Yeah. So like and subscribe, comment, all of those interactions help us. Our Facebook page is The Hub Fitness. Our Instagram is thehub_fitness. Our email is thehub.fitcrew@gmail.com. So in any way that you are wanting to reach out or contact us, those are the ways that you can do that. If you're just wanting to show support, liking, commenting, subscribing, those are all the ways that that do help us. So we appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Mm-hmm.